By now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this event. Some of you may have seen it multiple times, but no matter how many times you watch it, no matter how much you slow down the frames, something still doesn't add up. The move he used is undoubtedly his finishing move from the trailer. When he stores enough energy from attacks with Wilt and Blush, he unleashes it in a single strike. It looks like this. But here's the issue. Look at how that scene played out, what happened to the robot, then compare it to what happened when he used it against Yang. See it yet? It looks identical, but the angle of the cut was different. It seems to have gone off with a bit of a slant instead of being a straight horizontal slice. Or, to put it more bluntly, we know Adam has quite a history and has, presumably, been using Wilt and Blush for a long time. The odds that he would miss with no outside influence are simply astronomical. This leads me to believe that something happened in those moments that changed the outcome of his attack. Something that caused this skilled fighter to miss his signature strike. What it was exactly, I can't be sure, but I've worked out 5 possible scenarios. I don't know which of these is more likely than another, and I believe each of these holds some sort of plausibility. Whether or not we'll ever know which of these actually happened, if any of them, remains to be seen. But here goes nothing. Here are 5 theories on why Adam missed. This theory is actually pretty straightforward. I base this off of what is known as going on tilt. This is a term used by gamblers and people in online games. Basically, if someone gets very upset about something but they continue to gamble or play, they won't perform as well due to the anger they're feeling clouding their decision making. This effect is responsible for losing streaks across the world, as losing 2 or 3 hands or games is a quick way to put someone on tilt, and that leads to them playing more to try to convince themselves they can make it up. But since they are now distracted by their frustration and losses, they are even more likely to keep losing. Simply put, I think Adam meant to make his attack a lethal blow, but he was tilted. It's pretty easy to picture how and why. We saw from multiple earlier scenes that he was arguing with Blake, but before all that he seemed somewhat happy, almost smug, to see her.
No. Adam?
Hello, my darling. This could have been our day! Can't you see that? What you want is impossible!
For him to get so upset in a short amount of time is a sign that he may very well have been going on tilt. That leads me to believe that his attack was off because he was too upset by what he and Blake were arguing about to perfectly execute his attack. However, this is the simplest of the 5. It only gets weirder from here. This theory comes less from what happened in the scene we saw and more from what was happening simultaneously. The way these 2 parts were shot with clips back to back of each other makes me think they happened at the exact same time. So if we lined up what happened in the burning wreck of the cafeteria with what happened in the school basement, it becomes possible that Adam attacked at the same moment that the transfer of the Fall Maiden's powers from Amber to Cinder occurred. I only bring this up because of how his finishing strike appears to work. It depends on energy being absorbed by his weapon, usually through blocking attacks. I'm not sure whether this is the work of his semblance or Wilt and Blush itself, but either way we can safely guess that the power involved in this transfer of the Fall Maiden's power would be extremely high. So if the 2 happen at the same time, I believe that the huge change in power caused an imbalance in Adam's attack. Whether it added to it, decreased it, or something else is too over my head at this time to speculate. However, I think this change caused him to miscalculate how he attacked. This could happen in a number of ways, since we aren't entirely sure in what way the energy upgrades his attack. If it adds or subtracts weight based on the energy even a little, then that would be more than enough to throw him off. If it skewed the sharpness, then passing through the bone of Yang's arm might have thrown the rest of the strike off course. The exact specifications of what this changed are too complicated and simply too mysterious for me to fully analyze, but that's the Shockwave theory. Simply the release of energy from the transfer of the Fall Maiden's powers disrupted the attack of his energy-sensitive attack. Now I know that name makes a lot of you want to get up and leave, but it's third on this list because it does rely on Bumblebee. Not on whether or not it happens, however. This only relies on it being canonically possible. So don't freak out. I'm not stating anything about this pairing other than what's about to be said, so hear me out. Adam and Blake travel together in the White Thing. We know this. However, The length of time and anything more technical than that is unknown. It's possible that the two of them have dated at one point. It's possible that they may have even been a serious couple. If they weren't, then Blake may have been interested in somebody else. And no, I'm not talking about anyone we know, I'm saying someone else because odds are who that was, or if we'll ever see them, is unknown, since everything I'm saying right now is speculation. All of that is my evidence that Adam may very well have known what Blake looks like when she sees someone she cares very dearly for. Someone she cares about greatly. So when he attacked Blake and saw the look in her face when she spotted Yang, what if that was the look? He would have known right then and there that she had some very real feelings for Yang. When he turned to attack her, he might have been heavily distracted by this. We can assume pretty safely by how he shouts at Blake and the things he says that he has unrequited feelings for her.
This could have been our day. Can't you see that? Because all I want is you, Blake. Why must you hurt me, Blake?
So this theory basically suggests that, as an act of spite, he intentionally missed. He wanted to make both of them suffer as an act of getting back at Blake, since the thought of her with someone else might have hurt him very deeply. He let them get away. He knew they would. He did this with the intention of making Blake squirm, knowing she would feel miserable about not being able to help someone she cared for. He may have even known that it would lead to the negative feelings Yang seems to have towards Blake that are shown in the end of the volume. If that's the case, Adam is one cold, calculating villain. And we love him for it. This theory is honestly straightforward, but also kind of strange. Basically, it suggests that someone managed to save Yang through tampering with Adam's attack. Who it was and how it was done are not clearly known. A very popular candidate for this theory is Raven. If you slow down the footage up to a near frame-by-frame speed, you can see this odd image appear. A lot of people have said that it resembles a bird, and since Raven has already rescued Yang before, some speculate that this symbolically suggests that Raven stepped in somehow. Though that idea does have some issues relating to Raven and what she's told Crow, or rather what Crow has said Raven told him, that's not really what we're discussing. The idea here is simply someone somehow stepped in to save Yang, either for semblance or something else. Now bear with me, the next theory is really out there, but it doesn't seem impossible to me. It comes right back to Raven, directly this time. We know one thing for certain about Wilton Blush. It is part katana, part rifle. But let's focus on the katana part of that. Katanas have a rich set of lores and legends in certain cultures. Sometimes these stories tell of two blades, either exact opposites or exact matches, either destined to fight each other, fight alongside each other, or eventually turn on each other. These blades are often told to look similar if not identical and possess almost sentient qualities. Stories in which blades judge and evaluate their wielders is also not uncommon. In the case of the twin blades, they have been told to sometimes know something about the other wielder as well. Sometimes thoughts and emotions can get involved with these blades and how they behave. So let's look at Wilton Blush. Is there any other sword it resembles in the show? It does kind of resemble the one Raven uses when she saves Yang. So this is really far out there, but what if these two blades share a story? A story that, much like the ones told of other katanas, suggests that they are intertwined and share a history. If that is true, could it be that the other sword, Raven's sword, sensed what Adam was about to do and since it was synced up with Raven and wouldn't want Yang to come to harm, intervened just slightly? Basically, this suggests that since both Adam and Raven have a similar blade, I theorize the two may be interconnected and as a result, share properties like those told about in legend. As a result, could it be possible that Wilton Blush itself chose not to kill Yang? Actually, this one is probably very unlikely, but that's why it's last. So those are my 5 theories on why Adam's attack missed. Tell me in the comments which one you think is correct, or if you have your own idea, feel free to share it. But that's all I have for now, guys. This has been BioSnow, and until next time, run wild, my friends. See ya!